So I've been daily driving the new 2026 Tesla Model Y Juniper for exactly a month now. I have 1,000 miles on the car, and there's a few things that I absolutely love about the car. There's a few things I also don't like as well. So if you're thinking about buying one, you'll want to stick around and hear this. Welcome back to the channel. I'm the Fit IT guy. If you're new here, I cover Tesla tips, upgrades, and honest reviews to help you get the most out of your car. Today, this is my 1-month ownership review of the new 2026 Model Y Juniper. Right away, the new Juniper design refresh feels more refined, the lines are cleaner, the cabin materials feel upgraded compared to the older Model Ys, and it still gets attention everywhere I go. It is honestly everything that the first generation Model Y should have been, with the updated headlights, the adaptive matrix high beams, the new tail light, the enhanced aerodynamic design allowing for even more efficiency and even lower watt hours per mile while you're driving. This is definitely going to be the most detailed 1-month review that you're going to watch on YouTube. So stick through this whole video. I'm going to go over every little thing I've noticed and everything I've done to the car since owning it for a month, things I liked, things I didn't like. So let's get started. Everything to the price, everything to the colors, even the price. The price of this car at launch, other than the launch edition, is way, way cheaper than the original Model Y. I purchased my 2020 Model Y in April of 2023 for $49,800 used with 27,000 miles. This car, the 2026 Model Y Juniper rear-wheel drive, I purchased for $44,000, brand new, 4-year warranty on the whole car, 8-year warranty on the battery and motor. And honestly, now I have a car that is much newer. You know, I've got it with 0 miles, a lot more features than the original 2020 Model Y at a much cheaper price. My monthly price is about $350 less than my original Model Y. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started with the things that I like about the car. Say positive, right? We're gonna start with the things I like about the car. I wanna say right away that the positives do outweigh the negatives. Not to give a spoiler alert, but the positives do outweigh the negatives. So let's get started with the exterior. First things first, I had the red on my 2020 Model Y. That was the multi-coat red, which was a $2,000 option. This is the ultra red, which is also a $2,000 option. I got it for free on 4th of July because for 2 weeks from the 4th of July to 2 weeks after, they ran a promotion where red, white, and blue were free. I was gonna go with the stealth gray because I thought it was more of a cool color, but then I realized at some point that the stealth gray is the only free color, and I was starting to see stealth gray Model Ys everywhere. And I'm like, wait a second, I really love the red. So let me stick with the red, especially since it's free. My car is actually gonna be worth more that it's red than if it was gray. So I got the red and I don't regret it at all. The red is just a huge, huge upgrade to some of the other colors. The red is just so beautiful. Honestly, all the colors on the new Model Y are beautiful, but the red, I've gotten so many compliments on my YouTube videos, on my Facebook posts, in person. I've gotten so many compliments about the red, especially with the white interior. It's just, to me, it's the perfect color combo. I would go with black seats, but for half the year, it's so hot here. It's 100 degrees today. I've sat on the black seats before on other Teslas, and they're just burning hot, whereas the white seats don't get hot at all. So if that's something you want to consider when you're purchasing your Tesla, if you have extreme heat in the area you live in, I would recommend going for the white seats. They do not get hot at all from the sun. Black seats, they get extremely hot. They burn my skin. So white seats is the way to go. I had white seats on my 2020 Model Y, and I stuck with white seats again. It's just a nice, airy, refreshing look on the inside of the car. Plus it stays a lot cooler. On the topic of coolness, you may notice my windows are very dark. I just got a full ceramic tint with the XPEL XR Plus tint, which is the highest quality tint on the market. It has a 97% heat rejection rate from the sun, and it blocks 99% of UVA and UVB rays. So I went with that. I had it also on my 2020 Model Y. I drove this car for a full month without tints, and it was like I was baking inside. Even with the roof that has 7 times more heat rejection than the 2020 Model Y, from the rest of the windows, I still felt that heat full on and full strong. So I got the windows tinted, and the inside of the car stays so cool now. It's honestly a blessing having the window tints. This is my 3rd car now that I've installed window tints on. I don't know how I drove all my previous cars without window tints. In the summer, it makes the biggest difference. And also, even in the winter, one thing I've noticed with my window tints is that I really don't have to wear my sunglasses in the car anymore. I did go with the 35% tint on the windshield, 20% tint on the front windows, and 15% on the rest of the car. meaning the trunk glass and the rear windows. So with the 35% on the windshield here, I really don't have to wear my sunglasses anymore. I don't have any sun strain on my eyes. It's not as dark as if you were wearing sunglasses. Obviously, the sunglasses are darker. If you have sensitive eyes, you should of course wear your sunglasses, especially in the sun. But I no longer have to wear my sunglasses in the car. I've been very bad at that always. So just another benefit, but the car just stays so much cooler. My car would be about 165 degrees sitting in the sun in a parking lot for 30 minutes. And after I put on the window tints, my car would only go up to about 120, max 125 in some extreme heat. And on top of that, I installed a powered sunshade from EV Base, and I went ahead and tested it out. And the car, on a 100-degree day like today, the car only went up to exactly 100 degrees inside on the interior. So it's almost like the sunshade with the ceramic tints keeps the car exactly at the same temperature inside the car as it is outside. So a couple things there you might want to be wary of. Of course, the Model Y has a full glass roof. So for those of you that live in extreme hot climates, Florida, California, Nevada, places like that, you may want to be wary of the sunroof and things like that. But if you're not driving in the heat, or especially if you keep your car stored in a garage, it's not going to be as big of an issue. Again, with these cars, you have the app. You can go ahead and cool down the car ahead of time, or in the winter, you can warm it up ahead of time. For the interior, so you don't, it's not the biggest deal, but if you're driving, a lot every day, it starts to become something to think about, whether you want to get the windows tinted or whether you want to put a sunshade. And if you don't want to get an electric sunshade, for about 50 bucks, you can get a sunshade on Amazon. I previously had this one here, and this one for 50 bucks, you clip it in. It takes about 30 seconds to put it on, another 15 seconds to take it off, and you can cool down the inside of the car in those really, really hot summer days. It is the middle of August right now. So while we're still at the front of the car, I saw a couple posts about the front bumper camera being cracked. Now, it is such a small surface area that you wonder how a rock can really go and hit that area so perfectly, but it has happened to a couple people that I've seen. So there are some camera covers that I saw in a Facebook post that you can put to cover the front bumper camera here. But if you look, I actually do have a rock chip on mine. It is a very small rock chip, but it is there. So that tells me that a small rock hit my camera. Thankfully it didn't break it. This front bumper camera is susceptible to rock chips and is susceptible to cracking. So that's another thing to keep in mind. And on the topic of rock chips, I finally got my first rock chip a month into ownership of the car. A little one just right here. I know where it happened. It happened yesterday. I went through the GW Bridge into New York City, went up to the Bronx, came back down. I was on the West Side Highway, and there was a ton of traffic, and those roads are pretty terrible. So I know a rock came and hit the hood. So this is the quickest I've ever gotten a rock chip. Not too happy about that, but we do have touch-up paint for these sorts of things. I really wanted to get paint protection film for the hood and the front bumper. However, it is a little bit expensive. I was gonna go ahead and try to do it myself, but after watching a lot of videos, it does look like, at least for the front bumper, that you should really have some experience when doing it. The hood actually looks way easier, but now that I already have my first rock chip, I don't know about still going ahead and doing that. I probably should, just to prevent any more rock chips, but that's something I'll think about for the future. So the design of the car, again, is just absolutely beautiful. They did everything right. The side profile of the car is exactly the same as the previous car. The only thing that changed was the front and the rear. Obviously, you have the front daytime running light with the headlights on the bottom, and on the rear you have the new light bar tail light, as well as the new brake lights and the turn signal lights beneath it. The rest of the car functions absolutely the same. So I just want to go over some points I also made in my previous videos, which was my 1-week review as well as my 2-week review. So the premium interior, once again, absolutely beautiful. Every time my dad sees the car, he mentions how much nicer the interior looks. He drives an Audi Q8. So coming from that to the previous Model Y was a big difference, but going from that to this, he really loves how the interior looks. Just a way more premium interior. All of the plastic panels are like more of a leatherette, and they're very squishy. I think this is how the car really absorbs all of the sounds and frequencies that the previous model would just really exaggerate. You know, every time you went over a bump or a crack on the road with the first generation Model Y or Model 3, it would really reverberate throughout the whole car. I mentioned previously in my other videos that I had upgraded my 2020 Model Y to a Tine suspension. From the Tine, I then went to the Öhlins suspension. And even with the Öhlins, which is the best suspension in the world, especially for the Model Y, there was still so much noise in the car from the road. The suspension was absorbing it, but the body of the car was not absorbing it. So everything would just reverberate. In this car, it is so quiet. There's almost no wind noise compared to the previous generation. There is very, very little road noise that gets transferred to the interior of the car, especially when you're going over bridges with those cement roads instead of the gravel roads. You know, usually you go on those and you get those really now, you know, that you really hear the tires over the cement. With this car, you just really don't hear that. And on that note, one thing I've noticed people saying about the 20-inch wheels is the Continental tires that come with the 20-inch wheels are very loud. So I'm happy I went with the 19-inch wheels because they came with Pirelli Scorpion tires, and these are so quiet. These are probably the quietest tires I've ever used. I actually had the same tires on my 2020 Model Y that I purposely switched to. They didn't come with the car. And I'm very happy that the new car comes with Pirellis. I just love Pirellis. I use strictly only Pirelli on my Ducati motorcycles. I use strictly Pirelli on my cars too. I've had a Pirelli on my Lexus, on my 2020 Model Y before this, and now on this Model Y. Pirelli is the way to go. The EV specific Pirelli Scorpion tires, they're so quiet, they get really good range, and they still handle very well. And one more thing before we hop into the interior of the car, I really want to talk about how improved Hardware 4, and not only Hardware 4, but how improved full self-driving is on this car, especially compared to my 2020 Model Y with the Intel CPU and Hardware 3. This car has Hardware 4 and the AMD CPU. It is a night and day difference. The car is just so quick to make decisions, especially when it comes to quick reacting decisions, such as somebody coming in last second in front of you, somebody next to you, getting too close. The car just does everything it needs to avoid you from getting into an accident. So I've been using full self-driving pretty much every time I drive the car. I'd only really used it in my 2020 Model Y whenever they did the free trials, as well as 1 month I did buy it for a road trip to Montreal, but other than that, I never really had the urge to subscribe to it again on my previous Model Y. This Model Y, right away when the subscription expired, I went ahead and renewed it, and this is something I'm definitely gonna keep. For $99 a month, you have your own personal chauffeur, which is the car itself, and nobody else in the car to bother you. And it is just not even a lifesaver. I guess it's a lifesaver, but it's also a stress saver. You can drive for an hour, get to your destination, and still feel refreshed. I remember when I had to commute an hour to work each way, and I'd get to work, I'd be so tired. I'd get to work, I'd be so stressed from the drive, or, you know, kind of like, kind of tense. I'd get home and I feel tired. So having the car drive for you, you get to your destination and you just feel so refreshed. And I had the opportunity to get any car when my previous Model Y was totaled. I really wanted a Porsche Macan. I had wanted that even before I bought my first Model Y. I love the Porsche Macans, and they're so cheap now. You can get them for about $20,000, $25,000 used with about 50, 60,000 miles. That to me seemed like the way to go, especially after my last Model Y was totaled. However, just giving up autopilot alone felt bad, but now that I'm using full self-driving all the time, there's no way that I would ever drive a car again as my daily driver that didn't have either autopilot or full self-driving. It is that important to me, even here on the East Coast in New Jersey, right across from New York City. I am so thankful for full self-driving. It is a stress saver, really. It does everything for you. 95 to 99% of the times, it makes the correct decision, and it doesn't ask you to take over or anything. It is so nice with full self-driving too to not have to touch the wheel. I'm used to autopilot on the previous Model Y. I'd have to touch the wheel like every 30 seconds. With this, you're just focused on, you're actually focused on the road, but it's not stressful. You're kind of watching as the car's watching. Whenever I want to change a lane, you know, if I'm driving like a little quicker and I want to change the lane, I keep full self-driving in hurry mode. The car's already doing the same. At the same time I'm gonna hit the turn signal, the car hits it. At the same time the car turns, as soon as the car like gets halfway in front of me, the car starts to change lane. It is so quick and I love it. So one thing Tesla definitely could have done, but they haven't done on any of their other models except for the Cybertruck, would be a powered Frunk. Now, I haven't gotten a powered Frunk yet. They're pretty expensive. They're about $450. Usually I'm carrying my bags when I get back out of Whole Foods or ShopRite or whatever grocery store. I put it in. You have to pull down the hood and then you have to push down on the hood. with both hands to close it, right? Now you're leaving sets of fingerprints. When you pull it down, you're leaving another 2 sets of handprints when you push down on the hood. So this is why I went with the soft close frunks. So I can pull down from the latch here, and I can already start walking over to my door, and the car just locked itself. Just like that. And I can go ahead inside the car, and as I make my way to the door, the frunk already closed itself. So this is just a big time saver, and at the same time, it just keeps the fingerprints off your hood, especially if you have a girlfriend who uses a lot of lotion and she goes to push her hands on the hood, and when she closes it, you know, that leaves some pretty big handprints there. So with the soft close frunk, I think that was just such a nice addition. Again, with my code TFIG, you save 25% off. I think this came out to $102 or $102 and about a 15-minute install. It's actually a really nice feature and I love it. They have all sorts of different frunk options. They have the soft close frunk like I have here. They also have fully powered frunks as well that open and close. So going over it into the back of the car here, I am 6 foot, 240 pounds right now, bulking up, and I have plenty of space. My head has plenty of room above it, and I have so much leg room. Especially I can stick my feet all the way forward with no issues. You have plenty of leg room. And I think even with the full 5 people in the car, you're definitely not going to be squished. The only thing that's missing from the rear is the ventilated seats that the front seats have. However, the AC is super strong back here from underneath the rear screen, so you're definitely going to stay cool in the car. If you are sitting back here as a passenger, you really get to fully enjoy the glass roof up here. Again, like I said, especially when you're driving through New York City, just in general, just having that full glass roof is just such a premium feature that you don't really get in other cars. You usually have a split roof or just the sunroof in the front of the car. So to have the full glass roof, it just feels so nice and it looks so nice. So another thing I did to the exterior of the car is I did these wheel covers from EV Base, and I did these brake caliper covers from Test Launch. The very good thing about wheel covers is they actually extend out more than the stock wheel covers that come on the car. They actually extend out about another 1/2 inch in diameter all around, so this actually protects your rim. The outer portion of the wheel that gets scratched, if you ever curb rash your wheel when you're parallel parking, that's the part that scratches. And with wheel covers, it protects the outer rim of the wheel so that if you ever do curb rash your wheel, you can just go ahead and replace one of the wheel covers if it's a big enough of a curb rash that bothers you. So you're protecting the wheel underneath, which I think is such a great thing with wheel covers. You can check out evbase.com. They have a ton of wheel covers on their website. I'll link it down in the description below, and you can save 20% on EVBase with my code, TheFitIT So again, I just really love the interior of the car. All of the interior pieces just have such a premium quality to them. The center console, I can fit a whole gallon of water in here, and I can put it all the way in, and I can still close the lid. I can fit so many things in here, it's insane. I have a full smart water in here to keep myself hydrated, and I can go ahead and close it up. And under the armrest too, there's just so much space. There's just a ton of storage space everywhere in the car. Between the frunk, the sub trunks, the trunk, and the center console, you just have so much storage space. You're gonna see I have a lot of aftermarket products in the car. I replaced the steering wheel with a yoke wheel from Hand Show. I absolutely love it. It really lets your hands and elbows rest perfectly on the armrest and the door armrest when you're just cruising like this. And with full self-driving, you can kind of just hover your hands here, and it's just such a comfortable feeling. I really love the yoke wheel, and it's super easy to turn. People think it's very hard to turn for some reason. I can show you right now. It's super easy to turn. You can just do this like that, and it's not a big deal at all. So I also have this dash screen from Test Studio. I absolutely love it. It does have CarPlay, Android Auto. You can even screen mirror from your phone to the display, which is pretty freaking cool. I just love having my speedometer right in front of me. I don't have to look over. I love having my tire PSI in front of me as well. I can see every day as the temperature changes. You know, it goes from 80 degrees to 100 degrees from one day to the other here in New Jersey in August. So it's nice to see what the tire PSI is at. You know, since installing this, I realized I had to increase the PSI by 2. Whereas I probably would have never checked it here. And I do know that you can just swipe over and see it, but it's just nice to always have it up there without having to swipe over. I put on this MagSafe wireless charging mount as well, so I can just put my phone there like that. And it's such a clean look. It is the cleanest looking phone mount on the market for Teslas. You can put your phone this way as well. It is just so awesome. And it charges your phone too. So in addition to the ambient lighting that comes in the car, I have the blind spot detection light. So if somebody's in my blind spot, I not only have the red dot that shows up on the speaker there, but I also have an orange light here, and it's just so much more visible. And I also have a blind spot light on the dash as well. But on either side of the blind spot detection light ambient lighting strip, I get the orange light, and when I put my turn signal on, it flashes green. And if I put my turn signal on, but somebody's in my blind spot, it'll flash red. So it basically is telling you don't switch lanes. So I think this is just a good safety feature to have. Plus it looks pretty cool also. And especially with the carbon fiber dash piece that I switched out there from Test Studio, it's just a very cool, sleek look. And I did replace this piece because all the models other than the launch series have a light gray fabric there, or some have the Alcantara as well. I would have preferred having the Alcantara dash piece here. But if you get the white interior, you get the light gray fabric instead of the Alcantara. Even on the doors, you get the white doors instead of the Alcantara. I would have preferred white here and maybe the Alcantara here instead of the light gray. I think that would be better, but Tesla does sell the Alcantara dash piece on their shop. However, I love carbon fiber. I've had carbon fiber on all of my Ducatis, and I had carbon fiber in my previous Model Y too. And this piece being carbon fiber, it does save about 2 pounds from the fabric piece that I didn't realize how heavy that piece was. So not only does it look cool, saves you some weight, and in addition to the blind spot detection light with the carbon fiber piece there, it's just such a cool, sleek look, and I really love it. And as far as keeping the car clean, I've been using Hydro Silex interior cleaner for the white seats and Hydro Silex ceramic coating for the interior. And with those two products, you basically can clean any stain off the Tesla white seats. And with the ceramic coating, you can protect the seats extra, just to protect even more from some stains. Also for the interior, I got these very, very nice 3W liners, all-weather car mats for the seat. And you can see how nice that looks with my Spigen brake and accelerator pedal. The heel pad here on the 3W liner just looks so nice. It's such a premium look, and it keeps dirt off the carpet on your car. If you do want to switch back to the carpet mats, you know, it keeps them looking nice and new. This is great if you live, especially in a rainy climate. This is going to be great for the winter when it snows. I don't have to worry about the carpet mats just getting gross over time. So going over it into the back of the car here, I am 6 foot, 240 pounds right now, bulking up, and I have plenty of space. My head has plenty of room above it, and I have so much leg room. Especially I can stick my feet all the way forward with no issues. You have plenty of leg room, and I think even with the full 5 people in the car, you're definitely not going to be squished. The only thing that's missing from the rear is the ventilated seats that the front seats have. However, the AC is super strong back here from underneath the rear screen, so you're definitely going to stay cool in the car. If you are sitting back here as a passenger, you really get to fully enjoy the glass roof up here. Again, like I said, especially when you're driving through New York City, just in general, just having that full glass roof is just such a premium feature that you don't really get in other cars. You usually have a split roof or just the sunroof in the front of the car. So to have the full glass roof, it just feels so nice and it looks so nice. I do want to mention also that I did get used to the sound of the ventilated seats. I don't really pay attention to it anymore because I just don't hear it. I guess my ears just got used to it at this point. That is something I did complain about in my previous video. So another thing I want to mention too is the on-screen shifter. I think definitely half to most people can probably get used to it after some time. After 2 weeks, both me and my girlfriend didn't get used to it. My dad hated it also. So I went ahead and put in the gear shifter from Handshow. This was such an easy mod to put in, and also it's just a lifesaver. Even the auto shift, it just doesn't work as designed. If you're an efficient person, you get in the car and you go. I usually already touch the gear shifter as I get in the car like that. So just like that, you know, my car's in drive, I step on the brake, I tap the lever. And even with auto shift, you have to get in the car. I usually step on the brake when I get in the car. Then I have to put on my seatbelt. And then the auto shift still doesn't put you in drive until you let go of the brake like so, and then you have to press the brake again, then the auto shift works. So you're kind of doing so many multiple different functions where if the gear shifter was just still standard on the car, you wouldn't have to worry about that. And the on-screen shifter, to go from here to there, you know, it takes some extra time. And then to park, you have to tap, and there's about a half a second delay to a second delay every time you do something. So whereas the shifter, I'm already in reverse, I'm already in drive, I'm already in reverse. I think the shifter is just still quicker overall. It's definitely a cleaner look without the shifter, but personally, myself and other people, when I posted the video about it, they thought it was such a great idea to be able to put the shifter back in the car. And I've been very happy since I've done so. I found it a bit frustrating using the on-screen shifter. Like I said, after 2 weeks, I didn't get used to it. I've had the car for a month now. And I honestly forgot the on-screen shifter is there just because I don't even care to use it one bit. With the back of the car, again, we do have the power folding seats, which is such a great feature. I didn't realize how much of a creature comfort it is, but at the same time, It is just such a time saver when you're using it because you don't have to walk over to the rear of the car to open the door and then come back to the trunk to load in whatever item you're loading in. I also have a full set of 3W liners in the trunk of the car as well as in the front of the car too. Another thing you'll notice here is I have this fridge from Tilliard. I really love it. I'm able to store 3 meals for the day plus 5 different drinks into the fridge here. It is also a fridge and freezer. This has been such a nice accessory and it just fits so flush in the car that it's been a it's been a great thing to have, and I really love it. It's nice to just keep some drinks in here, and when you're on the road and you are thirsty and you're like, oh yeah, I have some drinks in the trunk of the car, I totally forgot, instead of having to stop somewhere to get some drinks. So another cool thing is just being able to go here to the seats, and we can fold the rear seats. Even with me sitting in the car, it actually pushes my seat up slightly, and it pushes the passenger seat here, and it pushes it back to fully fold the seats. So that's nice. But one thing I have to complain about, when the seats are folded, and if you have anything that weighs more than like 5 pounds on top of the rear seats when they're folded, you'll get the message here that the seat belt is not latched on the rear seats. And I have to ask, Tesla, why you have all these sensors in the car, you have full self-driving, but from the 2020 Model Y to now the 2026 Model Y, you still can't have the rear seatbelt alert go away if the seats are folded. There should be a sensor to know that the seats are folded to not put a message that the seatbelts are not latched. You just get this alert here, and if you're playing music, it blocks the music, so you can't see what song is playing. You have to keep swiping down every time you want to see what music is playing if the rear seatbelt alert is on. So that's one thing that's annoying about the car. So there's another thing I want to mention here too, and it relates specifically to the rear cameras. So this is the front camera now, right? And you have your 2 side cameras on the bottom. This is a pretty natural view. You have your main camera and then the 2 side cameras on the bottom. But how come when you're in reverse, you have your rear camera on the bottom, but then you have your side cameras on top? On the previous Model Y and Model 3s, you used to have the rear camera on top and then the side cameras on the bottom. So that way it was a more natural view like this, so that as I'm backing up and I'm looking back, you know, and I'm seeing backwards, I also can aim for the rear tires without having to look up here. Because this is more the main view, this is the side view. And I can just make sure that I'm getting into the spot properly, especially my parking garage parking spot. There's a column there, so I have to make sure on this side that I'm not hitting the column when I enter the spot. But however, when I'm reversing with the new view here, the cameras are up here, so I have to look extra far. And for some reason, it's harder to see when it's up here versus when it's down there. I think it's just the way it lines up. It makes more sense if your main camera's here and the other 2 are on the bottom versus if the side cameras are on the top. That's just one thing I've noticed. Let me know if you guys are having the same issue too, or if you've noticed the same thing. And on the topic of the screen, I've noticed that the screen brightness, the auto brightness is very low. So if we go to display here, you can see my brightness on auto is only 9%. And it usually doesn't go over like 13%. It's very weird. I found it very challenging when I'm parking in my parking garage. It's very dark in there, and with the cameras on, you can see it's pretty dark. I mean, we're outside right now, but go figure, in a dark parking garage, it's pretty dark in there and it's very hard to see. I feel like I have to manually go and turn the brightness up every time I go to reverse into my parking garage parking spot. I'm gonna show you a cool feature here that every car in the world has, except for the first generation Tesla Model 3 and Model Y. But when you're using your climate, you have your main vent, your driver vent, and your passenger vent. On every other car in the world, you can turn off the passenger vent. Previously, on the first generation Model Y and Model 3, you could not turn off the passenger vent. Isn't that crazy? But now, on the new Model Y and Model 3, you can see it says tap to turn on, and you can hold to turn off. That is a lifesaver. So many times I had the AC on, my girlfriend didn't want the AC on. Obviously, we know the whole ordeal of the guys always run hot, the girls run cold. So it's nice that I can have my AC on full blast and my girlfriend can have the AC off completely. That was not possible for in my previous Model Y, and that was so annoying. So I'm so happy that Tesla finally added that in to the new Model Y Juniper. Another annoying thing that I mentioned previously is the turn signals. It used to be 2 clicks. So you would click down once for a 3-second blip, and you would click down to tap, 2 clicks for the full turn signal. But now you only have 1 click. So if I push this, it's only 1 click down. And if I want to push it up to go right, it just cancels it. So then I have to push it up to go right, you know, I have to push it up again to go right. So it's basically 2 clicks, whereas any other turn signal in the world, in most cars, you can go from left to right in 1 swipe. In this car, no, you have to go, let's say I'm turning left and then I want to turn right. I have to click up and then I have to click up again to turn right. So it's kind of annoying, especially when you're on the highway and you're going between lanes, or if you're turning on multiple streets that have very, you know, you turn left and you have to turn right, then turn left again. The 1-click turn signal could have stayed as a 2-click turn signal. They didn't have to adjust that, but they did. Along with the gear stock being removed, that's really the only bad features that are in this car that changed that they could have kept the same. So I still have a bunch of mods that I'm going to do on the car, so you can stay tuned for those videos. I have a lot of accessories I'm going to be installing, and most of these accessories I'm installing just to show you guys how to install them and what they can provide for you. Again, you know, this car is just such a clean slate when you get it from Tesla, and you can do whatever you want to it to customize it to make it your own. You know, there's so many Model Ys, the most popular car in the world on the road, so it is up to you to customize it the way you want. Two of the upgrades I'm very excited for is I'm going to be putting on a Tints suspension from zvcentric.com, and this is just going to be a test for me to know how good the Model Y Juniper suspension really is, because I can tell you this is a luxury car feel compared to the first generation Model Y. It's really a luxury car feel. It is so smooth on the road. I'm so surprised. It's basically about 90% of the Tints suspension, I would say. So I want to put on the Tints suspension here as an experiment, as the first person to put it on the new Model Y Juniper, and let you guys know how it is and show you the install process as well. It was just so sunny here, now it's thunderstorming. This is New Jersey for you, 100-degree weather. I am then going to try the Tints suspension with unplugged performance lowering springs. I think this car sits a lot higher than the previous Model Y, so I want to lower it down. This will actually increase the efficiency, so I'll use even less battery when I'm on a long drive, especially on the highway. And I think it'll just make the car look that much better. And like I said, this car looks so much more aggressive and sporty than the previous Model Y from the factory. The previous Model Y, you had to do a lot of modifications to it, especially on the exterior, to make it look a lot more sporty. But this car looks so aggressive and sporty just the way it is. I will also be doing wheel spacers too. Even the rear-wheel drive model is so fast. I'm so surprised with the acceleration of the rear-wheel drive that sometimes I feel like I still have my all-wheel drive with the acceleration boost. That's how this feels. After you're about like 10 or 15 miles an hour and you punch the accelerator pedal, you feel like you're in the all-wheel drive with the acceleration boost. It is just that fast, and this is just the rear-wheel drive. It blows my mind sometimes how fast this feels, and this is from somebody that has owned 3 Ducatis. You know, I have the fastest accelerating Ducati that goes 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds, the Ducati X Diavel. Still, this car surprises me with how fast the acceleration is. I just want to mention something else too about the car. Driving in the rain, one thing I noticed with my previous 2020 all-wheel drive Tesla Model Y and this 2026 Model Y Juniper rear-wheel drive is that driving in the rain, I just feel like I'm blowing past cars going way faster than them. But I just know that I have so much more increased traction versus a lot of the other cars on the road. With the really enhanced traction control system of the Tesla, with the, you know, enhanced stability control that they have, you know, I'm driving in a thunderstorm right now, and I'm still doing 75 on the highway with no issues at all. Obviously, if there were some patches of puddles here and stuff, I'd be going a lot slower to make sure I don't hydroplane or anything. But I'm in the rear-wheel drive car, driving with 80 miles an hour now on the highway with no issues. You know, a lot of rain. It was coming down pouring just 30 minutes ago, and kind of slowed down now. But it's just a breeze to drive the Model Y. It was a breeze to drive the previous Model Y, and even better in this one. And again, this is just the rear-wheel drive model. If I was in the all-wheel drive model, I'd have even more traction, and the stability control is great. In my previous car, I have hydroplaned a couple times in the close to, you know, 2.5 years of driving it, and the stability control, of course, with my own control as well, really took over and made sure the car stayed where it needed to be and didn't just spin out for no reason. So you have to give it to Tesla for the electronics in this car to keep you safe. This car can really keep you safe. You have all the cameras. I mean, here's your rear, you have your front too, your sides. I love the side mirror cameras. So you really don't even have to use your mirrors anymore. You have the cameras there. They show you way more than your mirrors could. Of course, you should check it anyway. I still look over and then I check here just to make sure. But driving this thing is a breeze. So easy to drive. And again, boom, I'm in FSD now and it's doing its thing. FSD is actually limiting me. It says maximum speed limited, poor road conditions detected. So I'm wearing my hat so it can't see my eyes, it's saying, which is another funny thing. But FSD is limiting me to 70. So again, the electronics are great. It's smart. It's doing a good thing. It's probably telling me that I shouldn't drive above 70 right now, but it's also, the cameras can't see as good because of the rain. So after 1 month, would I buy the Model Y Juniper again? For me, yes, definitely. It's easily the best car I've ever driven. It's easily the best car I've ever owned, the best daily driver there is to have, a car that drives you, a car that's so comfortable. It has all these features, all these creature comforts. For a daily driver, it is the best car.